Hi, Ash. Do you prefer the term breast or chest?
Breast.
Okay. And I understand you're wanting to kind of figure out if you want to breastfeed your baby and then wean at 6 weeks and pump since you have to go back to work, or if you have to bottle feed. Is that right?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. So is this your first baby?
Yes.
Okay. So what is your ideal way of feeding your baby? What is that picture you've always had in your head?
I would like to do it by my breast. However, I know it can be difficult because you're in public and privacy is a big thing for me. But my optimal way to feed my newborn is from my breast.
Want you to be able to achieve that goal. Tell me a little bit what you know about breastfeeding.
I don't know much. I don't know much information about breastfeeding. So I'm open to hear what you have to say. And but yeah, I know the baby can latch on and pretty much that's it. But I really don't know a lot of information about the other alternative ways how you can feed your newborn.
Yeah, that's all good stuff to know. And so it sounds like your main concern with breastfeeding your baby is privacy and kind of establishing that first latch because you don't want it to be a painful experience. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So Um, and you're returning to work at 6 weeks, right?
Yeah, 6 weeks. But my office, it's really cool. My office has on each floor, they have a room that is for breastfeeding, which is a cool concept. It has a refrigerator in there and a locked door so I can have privacy. So that part is nice too. Obviously, I can't like, bring my kid in there, but if I could pump in there, or if that's a possibility, or I don't know what your opinions are about that too.
Yeah, that's amazing that your work offers that, because sometimes workplaces don't. So the fact that yours does, can give you a great space to feel comfortable and like you aren't being pressured with time to allow yourself to pump and store your milk. Um, do you feel like if you were to pump in that space, it would be a safe environment for you and you would feel comfortable and not worried or pressured by anybody?
Absolutely. I think my company makes it really important that people use their room that feel comfortable and to make sure you have privacy. So yes, I would definitely feel comfortable using that space.
Thing. That will definitely be helpful for when you do have to go to work and you don't have to worry about that aspect of stress of, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How am I
Yeah,
going to feed my baby? I want to give them my breast milk, but I don't want all these sticky situations or complications to arise. So with breastfeeding, the more frequency you feed on your breast, the more milk you're going to produce for your baby.
interesting.
So, since you do have that 6 weeks of time for you and your baby to bond, you can soak up all the time with your baby and enjoy breastfeeding and bond during that time, since that is one of the many great benefits of breastfeeding.
Mhm.
Um, and then when we do get closer to your work period, we can start incorporating pumping. And again, the frequency you pump, the more breast milk you're going to produce. So if another thing with pumping is when you store your milk, I can give you this handout that talks about some of the storing guidelines. And then another great thing about that too is that you can allow your partner to help out with the baby. Are your Do you have family around that you're close with?
Yeah,
You can allow a family member to feed your baby, and so these can be other ways for people you love to bond with your baby as well. So you also don't have that pressure of oh my gosh, I'm the only one that's doing my baby. I don't have all this time. I have to go do these things at work, but I need somebody to help me out with this. So you can have a family member or a partner kind of help out with that part. When you do go back to work, do you have somebody to watch over your baby? Is your partner able to stay at home?
Yes, when I am at work, my partner is able to, and my um, parents-in-laws are able to watch my baby.
Okay, so you kind of established a timeline of who's gonna help out when you go back to work.
Yeah, I have a great support team, so
Okay, that's also really great news. So it sounds like you have a lot of great support and you have people who are wanting to help you with this process and this goal that you have. So that's really amazing when you have those people there because it allows you to be able to achieve those goals that you have.
yes.
Um, so tell me a little bit what you know about pumping. Do you have a pump?
No, but I've been looking, um, I wanted to talk to you. I know we had this meeting scheduled, so I want to talk to you about your opinions, but I've been doing some research and I found some on Amazon, so I was just gonna Amazon one. I didn't know if there was a certain brand or model or something that works best or most beneficial for my newborn, but I wanted your opinion on what your thoughts are and how I should approach it.
Yeah, those are all great questions. So on that handout I gave you about storing your breast milk, it also talks about different breast pumps on there. There's a list of favorites and a list of ones that are not really recommended.
Okay.
One of the top favorites is a Medela brand. And so with pumping, there's different kinds of pumps. There's ones that you have a cord and you plug it into an outlet and you can pump. And then there's some that are wireless. Those ones do tend to be a little bit more expensive. Um, do you have an available outlet around you at work that you'd be able to plug in your pump?
Um, I believe so, yes. I would have to double check, but I believe so. Yeah, I'm looking at your handout right now and everything is super informational, so thank you.
Okay, yeah, so that could be an option for you, so you don't have to just look at all the wireless options.
Okay.
But some pumps are super fancy and some high end and they mimic your baby's tongue. So here's your nipple, here's your baby's tongue, and they'll kind of mimic that same motion on your
Hmm,
nipple. And
interesting.
then those are the super fancy, super expensive ones. And then you have kind of your more basic models, um, which you just hook up to your breast and then it starts pumping out your milk for you.
Okay.
Um, have you thought about using a Haka while breastfeeding?
Can you repeat that?
Have you thought about using a Haka while breastfeeding?
No, maybe you can elaborate on what you mean by that.
Yeah, so a Haka is another little tool we have for when you breastfeed. And when you are breastfeeding your baby, you have your baby on one of your breasts. And then a Haka is a little tool. It's also on the handout. There's a picture of it. And so you can kind of attach it to your breast. And so it almost looks like a little mini bottle. And so while you're feeding on one side, it allows your other breast to kind of drip out milk and collect milk into that haka, and then you can store that milk as well. So that's another option for you to explore
Oh,
as well. Some people decide that they love hakas and that they can be helpful, and other people are like, oh, I don't think this is really necessary for me. So they decide not to go that route.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have any more questions about breastfeeding, pumping, or work with breastfeeding?
No, everything we talked about has been super great. Thank you. Maybe one more question. Does it matter what breast I feed my baby from? Is there a right or wrong? Are they both the same? I don't know, maybe that might be a odd question that you don't get often, but I just didn't know if, I should be favoring one side or not.
Yeah, no, that is a good question. So you can feed your baby on both sides. So it's recommended to feed your baby every 2 to 4 hours. And so starting on one side, and then what some people like to do is have a little breastfeeding notebook with them so they can remember what side they fed their baby on last. And then the next 2 or 4 hours, you can feed your baby on that other side as well.
Okay.
And that's another reason why a Haka could be helpful, because while you're breastfeeding on one side, the Haka can release some of that milk so your breasts don't get super engorged.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be
Um,
into
yeah, that
that.
is a good question. Do you have any more questions or concerns?
No, I just wanna say I appreciate taking your time out of the day to talk to me. It's been super informational. Thank you for the handout. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to mention as well, since this is your first baby and you are a first-time mom, that breastfeeding can sometimes not go as expected. And sometimes in our heads, we can picture it to be this beautiful thing where, oh, we get our baby latched on, perfect. But sometimes there are struggles involved with breastfeeding, and that's why we like to have a conversation about it, so you're not scared or stressed or in a lot of pain. And so after your birth, your midwife will be there to, or your doctor will be there to help you establish that first latch. So you're not left hanging and not knowing what to do. And when you get a good latch, it might feel like it hurts a little bit in the beginning, because this is your first time doing this, maybe, and you've never done it before. But it should never be painful the whole time while you're breastfeeding. We don't want cracked or bleeding nipples. And if that's the case, then we can utilize some tools and positions to help you establish that good latch. Or if we're needing to use another tool, we can get you some support and reach out to a lactation consultant that can help you.
Yeah.
But we never want you to feel defeated from breastfeeding. We never want you to be in so much pain that it's something that you can't do. So we encourage you to reach out if you're having those issues. So
Okay.
yeah,
Awesome. Thank you so much. You've been awesome.
you are welcome. I will see you later.
Thanks, Midwife Grace. Bye.
Bye.